Well, hi, I'm Jeff Strong. I'm creator of the Auditory Brain Stimulation Therapy Rhythmic Entrainment Intervention. I'm also co-founder and creative director of BrainShiftRadio.com. In this video, I want to talk a little bit about tempo, and especially tempo within the calm range. As you may or may not know, rhythmic entrainment intervention is all about using drumming rhythms to influence the brain and behavior. And with our REI Custom Program, which is the core of the work that I do and have been doing for the last 25 years, all of our drumming rhythms, all of our recordings are at 8 beats per second. Now, 8 beats per second is at the low end of the alpha state of consciousness. This is an externally directed state where we're neurologically calm, we're receptive, we're alert, and we're processing sensory information very efficiently. And this is where we focus on getting people when we do the custom program. The custom program basically we have different custom programs, but it's a course of progressively more stimulating recordings made over a period of time using all the same tempo of 8 beats per second. The idea here is to repattern the brain, and I have some videos about repatterning neurological function with drumming. The idea here is that we give it exercise, teach the brain how to change the way it's responding to sensory input, basically. So with the custom program, like I said, it's all 8 beats per second. And what we do when we go through somebody's program or from program to program is we change the rhythms that are on that. So I may be playing one rhythm on one recording and then a completely different type of rhythm. It might have more bass tones, more accents, more chaotic structures to it in order to create the difference in stimulation. Think of complexity equaling stimulation. The simpler rhythm, say for instance the samba, just a very simple pattern, too loud, too soft. That's not very complex. Whereas you take the same rhythm and you kind of add some accents to it, change it up a little bit, it becomes much more complex. And that might sound like this. Just change the patterns. The tempo's the same. That's how we do the custom program. So everything throughout somebody's custom program, whether it's a 4-week-long program or a 6-month-long program, is really centered on these 8 beat per second rhythms, and then just creating the structures that then have the impact we want to have. And I've described this before in our early research for about 10 years, actually, from 1992 to 2004, maybe somewhere in there, 10, 12 years, I was really looking at the specific rhythms and seeing patterns. So for instance, I did a video on this a while ago. Here's a rhythm that I found helps with this type of behavior, kind of a hand flapping motion with people on the autism spectrum. And it sounds like this. So that structure with the accents and the bass tones and the actual counting of the rhythm is for a specific behavior. And we've got hundreds and hundreds of rhythms associated with different behaviors and long-term outcomes. All of them are played at 8 beats per second. So that's one way of doing it. And another way of doing stimulation and changing the way the brain responds, especially with calm, having different levels of calm, which is what I'll talk about in this video. BrainShift Radio takes a different approach. And what we do there is we start varying the tempos. So we'll play around with the rhythms as well and make things more complex or less complex, but one of the other key factors we play around with is tempo. And one of the reasons we did this in BrainShift Radio is I wanted to have a whole bunch of categories of music. And if I'm looking at something like energy or mood or meditation, sometimes I want to go slower. I want to go down into a lower state of consciousness called theta. Now, theta is an inwardly directed state, exists between about 4 and 7 cycles per second, and meditation ends up at 4. So if I want to get somebody to help and train them to 4 beat per second brainwave state, I can't play the traditional REI 8 beat per second rhythm because the brain's going to train then to 8 beats per second. So I got to slow the rhythm down to 4 beats per second. And the most classic example is this, the shamanic rhythm that goes like this. It's just a repetitive rhythm at 4 beats per second. Brings the brain into that state, and now you're in a deep meditative state. It's pretty cool. And so With brain shift radio, we have some tracks that are down 3.5, 4 beats per second, and we have tracks as high as 12 beats per second. So we're playing around with rhythm. So I thought in this video I'd play around as well with rhythm and show you an example of what happens when you take a similar rhythm, a similar pattern, and you go from one tempo to another and how much different it feels. So I'm going to play 2 different tempos today. I'm going to play it at what I call a deep calm, and that would be about 7.8 beats per second. And then I'm going to play something more of a focus calm tempo, which is going to be about 8.6 beats per second. So it's not a huge difference in the beats per second. One's going to be kind of at that transition zone between alpha and theta. Probably more towards the theta part of it, but keep in mind that even though theta goes to 7 or 8 and alpha takes over there, it is a continuum. So you're the low end of theta, you're very inwardly directed, and the high end of alpha, you're very externally directed. In the middle, this difference between 7.8 and 8.6 is pretty minor, but you're going to feel a very different feeling as I play. So this first one, like I said, is going to be 8.6 beats per second. I'm going to play a really common rhythm, probably the most common rhythm in the world. It's a 3-3-2 rhythm. So I'm going to use that as a basis. But I can't just play a 3-3-2 and not change it. At this tempo, if I'm going to train the brain to 7.8 beats per second or 8.6 or anything above 6 beats per second, I need to vary the rhythm a little bit in order to keep the brain engaged. So a basic 3-3-2 rhythm sounds like this. So it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1. Really basic pattern. I'm going to play that as the foundation of my rhythm for both tempos. And I'm going to do variations on that. Now you'll notice as I play the faster rhythm at 8.6 beats per second, I will probably make more variation. I will probably do more accents. I will probably do more slaps. Slap tones are these sharp tones. I'll probably do more of those. I might do some more bass tones in order to have a more activating effect. So you're going to feel more of a focused calm, whereas the 7.8 beat per second, you're going to feel more of a kind of a deeper centering calm. So I'm going to play at 7.8 beats per second. Like I said, I'll play the 3-3-2 rhythm for a while with variations, and just see how this feels for you. Hopefully it'll be fairly calming, kind of centering for you. So here we go. Okay, now I'm going to play 8.6 beats per second. This is going to be a little more focused. Use the same basic rhythm. I'll do some different variations though. So that feels like this. So I'm sure you felt the difference. There's a considerable difference in tempo. One's 7.8 beats per second, the other's 8.6. If you're translating that to drumming rhythms and you want to play for yourself, 7.8 beats per second if you're playing 16th notes. Set your metronome to play quarter notes at 117 beats per minute. So for every click of the metronome at 117 beats per minute, you're playing 4 drumming rhythms. For the 8.6, you're at 129 beats per minute. So that's the difference between kind of a deep calm at 7.8 beats per second and kind of more of a focused calm at 8.6. If you're interested in exploring a little bit more of what this feels like, BrainShift Radio has tens of thousands of tracks of music, going anywhere from 3.5 beats per second up to about 12 beats per second. Different purposes. With BrainShift Radio is simply creating a free account, you log in and you choose your category. We have 7 categories. So for instance, you could choose calm. And then once you choose that category, then you are asked an intensity question like, I'm fairly calm, but I'd like to be calmer, up to I'm agitated, I need to calm down. So once you choose one of these categories and the intensity levels, we choose tracks for you, which will mix different drumming tempos and drumming rhythms and drums with an ambient instrument track. And then you can dial the balance between the two of those if you're using a computer. If you're on a mobile device, that balance will be static. But I would definitely recommend trying brainshiftradio.com. It's very cool, a lot of music, a lot of different tempos, you can play around with that. Otherwise, if you're interested in the REI Custom Program, take a look at the link below, and I'll see you in the next video.